Good morning, everyone. Angie Harness here. Welcome to Mental Monday. I am your local local real estate expert with Keller Williams. And why are you doing Mental Mondays, Angie? Well, I'm doing this because, when we were on lockdown during COVID, saw a lot of people struggling and it bugged me. And I thought, you know what? I know a lot of amazing people who can to note that people think mental health, it's like, oh, I need to go see a psychiatrist or that's therapy, that is one aspect. It's also just how we think on a day-to-day basis, and how our brains are so powerful, and how we think is just hugely important. And when we can get that lined up, we have better lives, right?
Yes, our body and mind are very, very powerful tools. And what you think, how you feel all starts up here, right? Your mind's there to protect you, and it also has the blueprint to heal you. It has the blueprint to store all your memories, and its prime directive is to protect you and all of that. Yeah. So your mental wellness has a lot to do with everything. And if you're not, if your mental wellness isn't quite there, or if there's conflict or there's things that are upsetting you, your body, your mind, it's going to show up in your whole being. Like it can start off really small, and then it gets bigger and bigger and louder until you can't ignore what your body is trying to tell you. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you had a situation. So you were telling me earlier that you had been diagnosed with 4 of the top 10 autoimmune diseases. You'd had a rash that, so you would break out into hives for a lot of years. So tell us a little bit about that, and then how you were able to overcome that.
So I'll tell you a lot about that. So I had a rash that was on and off for 21 years. I've been diagnosed out of the top 10, 4 or 5 out of the top 10 autoimmune diseases: celiac, lupus, arthritis. I think there's a few other ones, but I don't. I've had great thyroid problems, grave disease problems, and these are all stemming from a conflict that would happen. I didn't know how to work on it. I didn't know how to deal with it at the time. I didn't have the tools. And so what happens is that when you have this disease, an event happens, you don't know how to deal with it. So there's this stress phase that goes up, and then the body goes, I know what to do with it. And then it lands, and it finds a place to land in your body. And then you go through this depression phase of a healing phase, the low energy phase. Then there's a healing point, and then you're back to this depression phase before you're over this disease. But you can stress over and over and over again and get chronic, and it gets bigger and bigger. For me, what happened with 21 years of having this rash, when I was 13, I lost friends and family over a fight that my grandma had with my aunt. So there was this big split, and my friends were a part of it. So I lost friends, I lost family members, and I didn't reconnect with them until 18 years later. But this showed up 3 years later when I was 16 as hives for no reason. It wasn't an allergy. It didn't turn out to be anything. None of the blood work ever came back to be anything. There was nothing that they could pinpoint. So eventually it was just labeled autoimmune disease. It was just lupus, because we don't know what else to call it. And rashes has to do with loss of contact, or wanting contact, or not having contact shows up as rashes on the body. So I had it on and off. And when I was 16, I treated it with prednisone. I treated it with Benadryl. I was going to the doctors a lot. Nothing came of it. And then 2020, I was getting ready to do these classes called NLP, neurolinguistic programming. And I spent all of 2020 doing this program. I am now certified as an NLP trainer. And it works with the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is like the computer program that runs in the background. We think it's this surface level stuff that's running everything. It's not. Your unconscious mind is what's running in the background. It preserves the body. It stores all your memories. It represses negative emotions until you're ready to deal with it. So when it knew that I was doing these classes, it goes, oh, you're doing the work. You want to work on this problem? Hey, do you want to work on this problem now? And I was like, no, I'm fine. Everybody's number one person we lie to is ourselves. I'm fine. I don't need to work on this. I had to start taking prednisone again. I did everything I could to stop the hives from coming when I had training. And finally I had to walk up to my trainer. I said, I don't know what to do about this. I cannot get rid of these hives. They're all over my body. And when we looked it up, hives is related to loss of contact. And I knew 1 to 3 years prior, it takes 1 to 3 years of accumulation. So, okay, symptoms 16, 1 to 3 years prior, what happened? What was loss of contact? And so it was my friends and family. So when I realized what it was, I was able to get the lessons from that event, lessons, positive nature, and about myself. I was able to undo that event. I was able to release the repressed emotions that I didn't realize were repressed, right? And once I did that, July of 2020, they haven't been back since. Like I thought maybe it was like gluten or allergy. None of it. It was just that that event. They were trapped in that emotion, on those negative feelings. Once I released them, I'm free of it. And now I have a passion to help other people with similar things, similar problems, events in their past that they need to release those negative emotions because they're having a negative impact in their life.
That's amazing. So, and talk about the subconscious mind. So they say, something, you hear different things, but it's always like 96%, something like that, of all of the things that we think and say and do come from that subconscious. And so the key is to decide what those programs are going to be and then start working on rewiring them, which is exactly what you did through NLP, correct?
Yes, but at the same time, if we are part of the problem, we can't always undo the problem. Like there are some things we need a coach to point out our blind spots and also to guide us through that. There are some things I can do with my training on myself, and there's some things I need another coach to guide me through that, right? Because it's deeper, it's more impactful. Once we are aware of a behavior, yes, if our blind spots point out to us, we can work on it. But there are some that we need somebody else to guide us through the undoing of that program or that wiring or that sabotaging behavior. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, because like you said earlier, our minds, one of our things our brain does, it keeps us safe. It's supposed to keep us physically safe, mentally and emotionally safe. And if something feels really uncomfortable, like recognizing, like you said, a behavior or something that we might be doing or thinking that isn't in our best interest, but digging into that feels really uncomfortable, our brain, our minds are naturally designed to put up roadblocks to keep us from.
Well, the beauty of this, of the NLP training, and when to undo the blocks and tasks is called timeline therapy. I programs timeline therapy. The beauty part is that those roadblocks, those hard feelings, we are able to go back to that time, disassociate from those hard feelings and not feel what was connected to that event. We can get so detached and above the feelings, so they're not literally reliving them or not re-experiencing them, but yet we get to release them without re-experiencing them. Because people have had a lot of hard things that happen, and talking about them doesn't help. When you talk about a story, you talk about everything that happened, your brain doesn't know the difference between it happening right now in front of you and it being in the past. So all the same chemicals, all the same hormones. If you were in a car accident, so like cortisol is going to be running through your body, and it makes the problem deeper. The more you talk about it, the more that you tell the story, the stronger the connection to the event occurs. It solidifies it. Instead of getting rid of it, it makes it deeper and stronger. So when we don't talk about it, we're able to release it without talking about it. You are pulling it from its roots. You're giving it out and it's not creating a deeper thing. So I say though, so with talk therapy, you're talking about the story, you're talking about things that happen. That's only really keeping you stuck in the problem. You're not really releasing it, right?
Yeah, I think it depends on the intention behind it. So I do, because I think there is power in, because secrets make you sick. However, there is, at some point you have to just say, okay, enough's enough. We're going to do something different, because I think we've all met people who choose to stay stuck in a problem.
That's
because
true.
they continuously want to keep, because they're getting something out of it. For, like some people, I had someone in my life who, 20 years later was still complaining about her ex-husband and all that was wrong in her life because of her divorce. So that's someone that's staying stuck versus
If she's stuck in it, if she's still reliving the story, she didn't get the lessons she was supposed to
correct.
learn, right?
Exactly.
But a way that somebody benefits from a problem, to really let people know, if somebody got into a car accident and they're trying to sue and they're hurt, but like maybe they start to feel a little better, but they want to stay hurt so they can get money from the sue, right? So that's a benefit. If somebody were to have a problem, they want to perpetuate the problem so they can maybe get disability, maybe get money from insurance. That's another benefit, right? Or being tired, not feeling good, and people do stuff for you when you don't feel good. That could be a benefit too, right?
Yeah.
But your friend with the divorce and talking about it and blaming it, she's not getting what she needs from the lessons. But like you said, maybe she's just stuck in the story and doesn't know how to get out of the story. Doesn't know how to, she just stays there.
Yeah. Well, it's actually not a friend. It was my mother. And she's no longer, but but she did for ever since she and my dad got divorced. She, that was her MO. Let me stay stuck in blame versus, try to get help and feel better. But that's a whole nother topic.
Well, that's not having the tools at the time to know, right? Generationally speaking, dealing with things and having the tools. Like I didn't have the tools. That's how I ended up with, multiple diseases. Now I have the tools. Now I get to help other people with these tools, right? We don't always have the tools at the time. We just do what we can. But yeah, there's some people who make a choice to stay there and can't really do a lot for them.
Absolutely. And that's kind of the purpose, because we're fortunate. We live in a time where the tools are easily available. Maybe some people don't have the finances to maybe go out and hire a coach or hire a therapist. However, there's lots of things that you can start doing on your own without that are free. Google. So one of the other things we kind of talked about earlier was the Imprint Years. And we know that from birth to 7, that's when the majority of our mental programming is developed. So talk a little bit about that.
So, right. That's interesting. When I first learned about that, so I'm a mom. I have a 9-year-old and a 3-year-old. And to learn about the Imprint Years is who they are going to be the rest of your life. It actually, it was something that like worried me and stressed me out, because there was some things I was really good at imprinting on my kids. And there were some things I didn't want to imprint, but I knew it inevitably would imprint on them. And that actually worried me a lot. And I think that's actually where part of how I started to want to change when my son was younger. A lot of times I say my story started with my NICU baby. That was a catalyst for wanting to go into the business that I am now. But even with my first son, knowing that I was imprinting him in ways that I didn't like, made me want to change a lot too, because I was imprinted by my mom. But the good thing is, even if they are older, there are ways to help them even as they get older and into the different years. Just want to say that I did the best as a parent. You just have to tell yourself you do the best you can with the tools you have at the time. Same with what our parents did for us. They did the best they could with the tools they had at the time. And if you ever want to blame them for the bad, you also have to blame them for the good as well. And so this is something that I've had to take in, and knowing my kids are in those time frames. But that being said, the Imprint Years. One of the things we talked about earlier was like the way that you treat money, the way that you treat your health, the way you treat stress are all formed in those years. One of the things I really like to talk about is like your money mindset is really formed in those years. How your parents talked about it, how they treated it, how they talked about it with you, how it imprints on a child, you're never going to know, right? The way that you go to the store and a child asks for a toy, and depending on what you say can leave a lasting imprint, it may or may not. If you say, we can't afford it, then the kid might grow up with a lack mindset, thinking that there's not enough money in the world, or they are not deserving, or their parents don't have enough and there isn't enough. Or even if the parents do and they say no, maybe that child's self-esteem or self-worth is affected by that conversation. So then they're imprinted for the rest of their life. Maybe a kid has an empowering decision. Oh, my parents don't have a lot. I'm going to make sure in my life that this never happens, and I'm going to go out and make a lot of money because I grew up without it. And they have an empowering decision. So you have disempowering decisions on what you grow up, and empowering decisions. It's just how it's going to imprint on them. You don't really know, but who they're going to be the rest of their life is mostly formed in those years, right?
Yes. And we get to decide that we can make those changes as well. So we don't have to, whatever negative, quote unquote, negative programming one might have, you get the choice to change it. I just believe in 100% responsibility in my
Great.
life, and the results I get are 100% on me. And granted, there are people who have went through very difficult childhoods, and at the same time, the only one who can make a decision to change is you. No one else can do that for you. And there's people who, when we talk about imprinting, it can be something very innocuous, like you just gave some examples, Amber, that might have caused somebody to believe something, create a belief system. And it doesn't mean that their parents said anything mean or did anything bad. It's just how we interpreted it at the time for whatever reason. It's really fascinating stuff.
I love what you said about responsibility. That is 100% true. No matter where you grew up, how you grew up, and what your imprint years were, you can't change it until you take responsibility for it, right? So I want to touch a little bit more on that responsibility and the things that we've been talking about. And that is a beautiful point. Now, we are responsible for how we react and how we do things, and where we are, and everything that we have in our life is a responsibility of choices we've made, good, bad, or indifferent. So we cannot control a pandemic. We cannot control that it happens. The only thing we control is our actions, our reactions, or our inactions when it happens, right? Some people get stuck and they're waiting till it's over and they're not doing anything else, right? They're not taking responsibility. They're using the excuse of it's a pandemic and let everything fall by the wayside. Maybe their business, what they're doing, they're just sitting there. And there's other people who take responsibility, go, okay, so this happened. I'm still going to do what I do. I'm still going to make money. I'm still going to make things happen. Even if I lost my job, even if I'm home with the kids, I still get to take responsibility for how I react.
100%. Right? Absolutely. That's a perfect example. That is a perfect example. And at the same time, yes, we certainly acknowledge that certain industries were hit harder than others. And, look at the restaurant industry. I mean, that's, just depend. There are certain areas that and that's not their fault, what certain government entities have decided. And at the same time, even if you have greater challenges, at the end of the day, the only one that's going to make the decision to do something is going to be you. It's going to be you. That's it.
Yeah. 100%, right?
Yep. Absolutely. Amber, any kind of parting thoughts? What if people want to reach out to you? Let me ask you this. If someone were to call you and they wanted, some help, what is it that you would be doing for people?
I do have a vision board event coming up. That is this locally, is this all your Facebook friends, right? Well, if you're local to St. Louis, St. Charles area, I know Fallon, Thursday, September 16th, I'm doing a vision board event. I'm pretty sure you do vision boards, right?
I've done a couple of them.
Right. So I'm doing one. I'm like, okay, so let's finish out the rest of the year strong, maybe start on next year, because there's still time to do the rest of the year quarter. So I am doing a vision board coming up. I'm really excited about doing that, and I'm getting supplies and getting people to come. So that's what I'm doing next month and in the next few weeks. My personal programs, my coaching programs, I do offer complimentary stuff, and I offer, I love to sit down with people and then offer a complimentary session. So what I do with them is I have a 6-week and a 12-week program, and a 6-month program. The 6-month is like life coaching. It's every single week. The 6 and 12-week is more on doing past events, blocks, and it's also limiting beliefs or limiting decisions which look like I can't, I don't know how, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at sales, I'm not a math person. Anything that you believe that you adopted a belief about yourself that isn't serving you. We can have empowering decisions that help us, and we can have disempowering decisions that don't help us, and we can undo those. And then we can go back and undo events that are not serving you, undo events that have had a lasting impact, right? And that's my 6-week. And depending on different people, I can do different major areas of your life. There's relationship one, you can do like a money block in business. I am starting now a cost program, which goes back and undoes the imprint years of what formed your habits in the first place. I'm not here to say, this is how you do nutrition, this is how you do weight, this is how you do exercise. What I'm doing is the imprint years, the past times, the people that you modeled your blocks, because there's a lot of people who can lose weight and then they hit that wall and they can't get past it, right? Or they only lose weight for a little while. So I'm doing timeline to undo the patterns that created the problem in the first place. I'm really excited about that because it's actually one of my newer ones. I've been doing relationships and other stuff that affect your mental health, physical health, your other minor diseases that were created from a conflict. And in the fall, I will be doing a major transformation that's an all-day transformation, full breakthrough, like you're talking like 8-hour breakthrough. That's absolutely incredible and feels amazing and has tremendous results. I don't know if I mentioned this before. One of the nice things about doing these timelines, it's effective and it's immediate. When I did that timeline on that problem, it was immediate and it didn't take forever for it to settle in. It was an immediate, it was gone.
Wow.
And this includes other blocks, other decisions. It's gone.
Well, that sounds amazing. Amber, thank you so much for joining us this morning and just sharing some of your insight and your expertise in this area of just making sure that we're taking care of ourselves and taking ownership, really taking ownership of what our lives look like.
Yeah, I think I want to mention something else too about the things we've been talking about. So it's a little different than what we're used to thinking. In Western medicine, they don't traditionally teach you, or they don't teach doctors that that events, conflicts, things that are bothering us show up as disease. In Europe and other such places, they're more into and they understand that these conflicts show up in our body, whether it's minor and then they get bigger and bigger and bigger if we're not paying attention to them. So it's a kind of a new concept here. So I'm really excited to be able to do that, but it's a different thing. So to teach people and understand that all these little things actually add up and your body knows how to heal, and it's trying to tell you a message based on the symptoms of what is going on, and we get to undo those together. You know, I have like a book sitting right here called Meta. See if you can see it. Meta Messages from the Body. I had to get this from UK Amazon because they don't offer it here. This isn't a United States concept. It's a different one. So I would consider myself a holistic and practitioner and a holistic type person, and actually being connected to other holistic people is what I'm actually also looking for as well.
That's awesome. Amber, well, thank you again. Thank you so much for joining us today. This has been Amber Webb. Reach out to her if you have any questions. I know she'd be love to chat with you. Like she said, she does offer some, it sounds like a complimentary introductory session. So just give her a call and see if this could be a good path for you. And this has been Angie Harness with Keller Williams. And I wish you all a blessed and wonderful week.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.